Hey guys, it's me Sujoy over here. Welcome back to another video. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about this topic. Um, since I'm out here in India for a short stay. Um, if you're new to my channel, the name of my channel is called the Sujoy in Vietnam. I've been living in Vietnam for over 7 years. Um, I was an English teacher before for 4.5 years, and then I started my online business. And I'm also a full time YouTuber. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, it takes less than 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, and that way you can support my work. So I want to talk about this topic about Indians. I myself am from India. So I'm going to talk about my personal experience, and I think many of you can relate, or maybe some of you can relate. So since I'm out here in India, I'm actually documenting my experience, my day-to-day experience over here. You know, coming home, coming back home after a year. After a year, and especially from Southeast Asia. um, it's a bit kind of challenging for me, um, and of course I'm going to highlight those things out here in the video. um, yeah, so let's just talk about this topic. Like, why do Indians make other Indians feel uncomfortable? Okay, I'm not talking about all Indians, but I'm talking about some Indians. I don't know why that happens. Is that due to the Indian mindset, the Indian mentality, or maybe lack of civic sense? I'm not quite sure. But like, I remember, when I was boarding my flight from Vietnam to India. This time I was coming back from Ho Chi Minh, and I was coming to India. Uh, like, when I was actually waiting for my flight in Vietnam, and there were so many Indians. I think majority of them, they're all tourists. They were all going back home, but it's just that, like, some of them I could see, like, some of the Indian guys or whatever. They just, like, I was just sitting. I was sitting and I was waiting for boarding the flight, but I could see some of the Indian, like, family members or Indian guys. They were like staring at me. They were giving me that dead stare. Um, and it's not happening for the first time. It's happened before also. Like, when I come to India and when I visit out here, like some Indians, they have a bad habit of staring at other Indian people. I mean, in general, they have a bad habit of staring, and I made a video about this a long time back. I mean, why do Indians love to stare? So I think I'm going to keep that video, when you finish watching this video, as a recommended video, so you can check that out. So it kind of, yeah, it was like making me feel uncomfortable. I was like saying, like, it's never happened to me. Like, I've always taken flights to other like, I've gone to Thailand. I've taken flights from Vietnam. I never had that kind of an experience. But this only happens, like, if you are boarding a flight going home to India, or if you're flying from India and going somewhere outside the country. Usually, some Indians, they stare at you. Like, it's happened to me. They stare at me. I don't know for what reason. Is it because of my clothes, or is it because of my appearance, or what? Because I myself am an Indian. So so that kind of makes me feel very uncomfortable as an Indian. Um, the second thing which I've actually real noticed is that, ever since I got my clean head shaved, I mean, ever since I got my haircut done, I did a nice shave, head shave. Some of the people, they constantly stare at me when I go for my evening walks here. Not with a smile, but like they just look at me like with a dead look. That kind of makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. Um, and also one more thing is that when I try to cross the roads, like sometimes some Indian guy, like maybe he's taller than me. It always happens like that. If he's taller than me, I don't know if he's like he I'm going my direction, I'm going my way, I'm crossing my road, but he has to come in front of me. He does not go his way. He will come right in front of me. He will come right in front of me, and he will try to, you know and it happened to me yesterday. Like this dude, I was crossing the road, and of course the traffic over here is a bit, you got to be careful when you're crossing roads over here in India. Especially there are a lot of cars. So there are a lot of hit and run cases as well over here. Anyway, I was crossing the road yesterday, but and this dude, he's like, must be like 6 foot 2, 6 footer or whatever. He was supposed to go his way and cross the road, but he came right in front of me. He came right in front of me, and I just showed my hand like this. Don't come in front of me. You go your way. Yeah. So these kind of civic sense is lacking. I mean, kind of makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. And the other situation which happened to me is like, which usually happens, is that if I'm going to step out of my home, if I'm going to be standing at the balcony, maybe if I'm having my morning coffee or my evening tea or what. I see some people, some guys, like old men, especially old men. They sit. They're like benches to sit, but like kind of creeps me out. Like they're always, when I'm having my tea, they're always staring at me. I mean, they can look somewhere else, but it's just like they give you that dead stare or whatever. It kind of makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, being an Indian. Um, so yeah, staring is a big problem out here. Staring means looking at other people, just giving a dead stare. I don't mind if somebody stares at me with a smile. That's all right. But you don't have this system out here in India where, it's just that people will just, if I go for my evening walk, if some Indian guys, you don't have like, hey, good evening, or it's not like in America where, like good morning or good evening, like even though if you don't know that person. Um, in Australia also I had that experience. Like if I would go for a walk at the park, some Aussie guy would just say, "Hey, good evening," or you know, you don't have that over here. And of course, like I said, the dating scene over here, in India usually, it kind of sucks. Um, I mean, I've tried, like I told you before, like like sometimes, like I don't know, like I went to the sandwich shop and I was eating my sandwich the other day, and this Indian girl, she was like just looking at me, just staring at me, like a dead stare. And I was just minding my business. I was eating my sandwich, and like, and I just said, hey, and then she like, I mean, you have that, sometimes, they just give you that stare, kind of pisses me off. And it sometimes is kind of a bit intimidating. I don't know if they have lack of exposure, or maybe they're not used to. They think that I'm some kind of a foreign person or whatever. Um, I mean, I am an NRI. Don't get me wrong. I've been living outside my country. I'm a non-residential Indian. I've been living outside my country for so long. Um, but it's just that I do get that, sometimes from Indian girls, they'll just look at me, or they, with this bad stare or whatever. I usually respect women. I don't stare at them. Unless and until somebody's hitting on me. Someone's smiling at me. Of course, I'll smile back. I mean, that's a different situation altogether. Yes, the staring is kind of a bit uncomfortable. Um, and of course, like I can imagine, like even for Indian girls, who are working in companies here in India, call centers or college students or university students, like I've heard like I've seen with my own eyes, a bunch of Indian guys sitting and then they will stare at that girl, constantly making her feel uncomfortable. Before she might be waiting for the bus to come or something or whatever. So these are actually not. Um, so I would say lack of mannerism for sure, lack of civic sense, um, and I think the only solution would be, maybe in the Indian media, you have these short educational commercials where you educate young Indians, like staring at someone without a smile or is not polite. It's you because at the end of the day we are all Indians. Like I mean, for me, if somebody's like looking at some Indian person is looking at me with hate, um, like then I ask myself this question. I that is, are you an Indian or whatever? I mean, so and also I want to say about like if you are an Indian and if you go to some other state in India, because India is a big country, there are like 26 states, and maybe if you're not from that state, if you're not from that city, or if your surname is different, chances are you may get also discriminated due to your surname. Um, so it happens. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but sometimes it happens. Um, like yesterday, I got some groceries delivered at my home, and this dude, he came. Firstly, he called me on the phone and he said, "Are you staying on this floor?" I said, "Yes." So and he didn't even ring the bell. He was actually outside my door. But I opened the door, and this guy, he was like looking at me with like hate, and I was like thinking, what the hell is going on? So anyway, I paid him the money. I got my grocery items, and then he just gave me that bad stare, and like, for what? I never misbehaved with you. I never said anything to you. So these kind of things, gives me a very bad impression. That it gives me an understanding that there's a lot of lack of civic sense among Indian people, and there's a lot of lack of mannerism. And I think customer service is also not very good out here in India, which I can see. You wouldn't. It's very rare to find people will say to you, welcome to, whatever, welcome or thank you or whatever. Even these online grocery delivery brands, which like American brands like Amazon and all those things. Sometimes I encounter these delivery guys. They come to my home. They're pretty rude. Um, so it's just that it makes me feel uncomfortable being an Indian. So don't get me wrong, I love my country. I love, I love the Indian culture. I love my culture. I love Indian food. I love Indian people who are nice, who are well mannered. But if certain Indians are making other Indian people uncomfortable, then I don't consider them to be Indians in the first place, because we are all Indians living under one hood. It doesn't matter where you come from or what your religion is or what your caste is. You should treat everyone equally. And sad to say, certain states, like here in India, I won't name them, but they have that ideological mindset that, okay, we don't consider the rest of the states to be a part of our nation or whatever. I don't want to get into the details, but you know what I'm trying to what I'm trying to say to you, right? So if you're an Indian watching this, I just want to let you know is that have that civic sense, have that mannerism, always respect other Indians no matter um, how he or she looks or whatever it is, right? So we are all brothers and sisters. That is the number one thing which we have been taught in our Indian education system. So please adhere to that. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. Like, have you had bad experiences? Like, have you felt uncomfortable by other Indian people, in India or in overseas? Or if you're an Indian woman, have you felt uncomfortable due to certain situations or whatever? I would love to hear that. You can drop it all down in the comment section below. So yeah, if you like watching this video, make sure to like this video and all the good stuff. And if you found this video to be insightful, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is down in the description below. And if you want to start a successful online business, you can check out the free webinar workshop. The link is down in the description below. So with that being said, have a great day, have a great evening, stay safe. Peace out.